Want to set up a brand kit in Canva but don't have the funds to be able to do Canva Pro? That's okay. You don't actually need it. In this episode, we're going over how to set up a Canva Pro brand kit without the Canva Pro part. Before I get too far, let's talk about exactly what is the brand kit. The brand kit is essentially your portfolio in Canva Pro, and it allows you to store everything for your brand. Your photos, graphics, icons, you can upload fonts, brand specific fonts in there. You can set up brand templates for your team to use for maybe social media content or web graphics or anything along those lines. And you can also set up what's called a brand voice using Canva's Magic Write. Now, again, Magic Write is also part of Canva Pro, so that part we won't really be able to replicate. However, everything else in terms of the brand kit, you are going to be able to manage without having to purchase Canva Pro. So let's look at each one of those in detail and figure out exactly how you can do that without purchasing Canva Pro. Let's start with storage. Obviously, the brand kit is one of the best places for all of your brand assets, your photos, your stock images, your logos, any graphics or icons that you have associated with your business. All of that stuff can be stored right in the brand kit, so it's easy access. The other nice part about the brand kit is that you can have easy access to that because it's always available on your toolbar. It's not a folder that you can kind of plug and play depending on the design that you're using. That being said, we can make that storage very easy without the Pro version. Now, it may seem pretty obvious, but you can create a folder for all of your brand assets. And that includes some subfolders. So starting off with the primary folder, I call that the brand asset folder. This folder is going to house everything, just like the brand kit does. In this folder, I usually set up subfolders. So these can be folders for your icons, for your graphics, for your stock photos, for your business, for your logos, for video or B-roll content that can be upgraded into your social media content. All that stuff is going to go in subfolders within your primary folder. Now, from there, you're obviously going to upload all of those types of assets into those particular folders. It's going to make it really easy to navigate your folders and your projects as you're working on different designs. What's really nice about the brand kit in Canva Pro is that all of that stuff is easily available. So if you can make that stuff easily available without having the brand kit, that's going to be the most efficient way to manage all your stuff in Canva. Now, the tricky ones are going to be your colors, your brand colors, and your brand fonts. Those ones you obviously cannot save to a folder, but there's a couple of different workarounds that you can have with that. The first one is to set up what's called a brand guideline. Now, this brand guideline is going to showcase exactly what your brand is supposed to look like. This is something that a lot of bigger businesses have when they send out their brand items to maybe a sponsorship deal or a donor or something like that. Maybe they gave a donation to a small nonprofit and that nonprofit is trading them some advertising. They send out a brand kit and a selection of those assets for that nonprofit to be able to use. Now, this brand guide is going to include the entirety of your brand, your logos, which logo style you want them to use, which fonts they have, including all of the letter type outs so that they can physically see it, any images or photos that are associated with your brand that you would want them to use, and any specific colors. So your 3 to 5 specific brand colors that are associated with you. Now, that brand guideline is often something, like I said, that you send out to people. But in this case, we're actually going to use it for ourselves. So once you have that brand guideline put together, and if you don't have one already, just search templates in Canva and type in brand guideline. I'm sure there's a few of them in there because I've built quite a few of them just from templates. Now, once you get that set up, go ahead and save it as a PDF and then upload that into your brand assets folder. The other thing that you should do here is that you should create just a simple doc. It can be a little simple square like an Instagram square and put all of your colors on it. Maybe take a circle and fill each circle with your specific colors. Let's say you have 5 colors in there, put 5 dots on the screen, make each dot one of your 5 brand colors. You're going to save that as a PNG file or a JPEG file, whichever one you prefer. And then again, you're going to upload that back into your brand assets file. What that's going to do is that's going to act as your color code. So when you go to create a design and you don't have the brand kit in Canva, you can simply upload that particular image with your colors on it and use the colors from document tool that pops up when you go to change a color in Canva and select those particular colors. Now, if it doesn't pop up, you can use the color eyedropper tool to do the same thing. Pretty quick little hack, pretty easy hack. Should take you about 5 minutes to set up just that portion, but you'll be able to save a ton of time in terms of searching for your colors. The other way to do it, obviously with the brand guidelines, I always recommend to type out like the hex code or the RGB code for your colors to where you can then go type those in manually. But if you can upload something to where you can use the color eyedropper tool or the colors in this document tool, that's going to save you so much time. You're going to be able to do it in just a couple of clicks rather than having to type in the whole thing, go look it up, the whole 9 yards. You're going to speed up your designs exponentially just by doing that. And then the last feature in the brand kit is the brand voice, which is an AI writing feature, a writing tool as part of the Magic Write tool that we're not really going to be able to replicate. However, if you are using something along the lines of ChatGPT, which can be a free program, you can somewhat replicate that. Over the course of time, ChatGPT will learn your style, learn your speaking style, as long as you're giving it feedback as to the content that it's giving you. If you spend enough time doing that, you're eventually going to have something to where you can plug in some copy from a flyer. You can put that in there and say, hey, make this more brand-centric to my voice. If you have a larger brand, if you're more of a well-known brand, you have content out on the internet, and you've been around for a long time, ChatGPT should be able to pull your voice from other things. Now, a lot of the listeners of the show don't have a big brand, and that's okay. So that part may be a little bit farther down the road, and that's totally fine. But you can set tone styles. You can tell ChatGPT, hey, I want this text in more of a strong or confident tone. I want it in a fun tone. You can do the same thing with social media content, with captions, things like that. If that's something that you still want, I would use a tool like ChatGPT to try and replicate something like that. Yes, it is an outside program, but you're not spending any money on it. It's something that's completely free. You can still manage all of those same things. Me personally, I definitely need to use it a little bit more, but most of the time that I would use it would be for something like creating post copy, creating blog posts, and I tend to use ChatGPT for a lot of that, with maybe brand voice being something a little bit more ancillary or like an add-on into what I'm doing. For most small businesses, if you're working like a one-man team or if you have a really small team and you just want to share the login information, this is a way that you can manage your brand information, your brand assets for free without having to upgrade. Now, me personally, having used Canva for the last 4 to 5 years, I think the upgraded price of Canva Pro is worth it. It's about $120 a year if you pay by the year, or I think it's about $15 a month if you're just paying monthly. If you use it enough, if you take social media seriously, if you use email marketing, if you have a website, Canva is a great tool to build assets for all of those. Especially social media. That's obviously going to be one of the biggest tools, one of the biggest places that you can create items. You can also do like free PDFs and things like that to help promote your business. And in my opinion, having Canva Pro just takes it above and beyond. For those of you who aren't ready to make that jump yet, hopefully this was a helpful tutorial to organize your brand assets, organize your Canva account to make your life a little bit easier. Thanks for watching. Thank you for joining me today on the Canva Code. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button on YouTube, follow me on Apple Podcasts or on Spotify, and stay tuned for more insights on how to use design and Canva to thrive. Thank you for listening, and remember, you Canva do it.